I remember that day pretty well. I was 18 years old and I was cleaning the bathrooms at Tim Hortons in Canada.
The next station is Dojo.
And as I was mopping toilets and exhausted after another 8-hour shift, I looked in the mirror. I said to myself, this is my life. If I don't make a change now, I'm gonna spend the next 10, 15, 20 years just living a very average, mediocre life with very average income, and it's just gonna be average. If I don't make a change today, I'm gonna be in the same place for a very, very long time. And I couldn't handle that, you know. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a lot of experience. I didn't know what I would do. I didn't know about copywriting. I just knew that I didn't want that. I didn't want to be average. So I made a bet on myself. I had $2,000 in my savings, but I decided to quit that job. I handed in my notice. I just said, I'm not doing this anymore. And if I hadn't taken that risk, if I hadn't taken that bet on myself, one thing is for sure, I wouldn't be here in the tallest building in Tokyo, looking at Tokyo Tower. That's for sure. Hey, so if you're new to my channel, my name is Volkwyn, and over the last 8 years, I have generated my clients a crap ton of money. Like a lot of money, like tens of millions. A lot. I lost count. I didn't track it very well, actually. And I've written thousands of emails, ads, I've written VSLs, I've written landing pages, sales pages, pretty much everything that a copywriter writes, you know, and also I've had the opportunity to help hundreds of the world's best copywriters. Some of the copywriters that I coach, they work with some of the biggest brands that you definitely know. So, you know, over the last 8 years, I've had a lot of fun. I've made a lot of money for myself, a lot for my clients as well. But 8 years ago, I was lost. 8 years ago, I was broke. I had no skills. I had no way to make money. I didn't know anything about copywriting. I didn't know how to make money online. All I had was a dream to do something meaningful, to not be average. And so today I want to share with you how I went from broke to millionaire copywriter in just 8 years. It took a long time, it was a lot of work, but my life today is completely different, and I'm so grateful for finding copywriting, and yeah, let me share that story with you. So with that said, let's roll back the tapes to 2015. So in 2015, my family, we immigrated to Canada from South Africa, and when we first got to Canada, it was a big culture shock for me. I was still in high school. I was just trying to finish high school. I didn't enjoy school, to be honest with you. I really didn't. I hated school, like with a passion. Every day of school was like not my thing. And moving countries was also difficult because, you know, school was different in Canada. Yeah, so while I was in high school, I got a job at Tim Hortons, and I decided that, you know, I needed to make some money. I didn't know if I was gonna go to university or college, but people were telling me to go to college. They're saying like, oh, Matt, you absolutely have to go to college, you know, like this is the next step, or university. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know if I wanted to spend 4 years at university. I didn't know if I wanted to spend $4,000 a year, because in Canada, I was about $4,000, $5,000 a year. Back then, it was a lot of money for me, right? Like it's minimum wage, you know, like I didn't want to necessarily do that. So I was like, well, what am I gonna do, you know? So I decided not to go to university, and I told my dad, I was like, Dad, I need a gap year. Let me go figure out what I want to do with my life before I go and commit to 4 years of education and do a career I might not even like, you know? For me, time has always really been very important. I've always valued my time a lot. Like I remember working that 9 to 5 and thinking, wow, every single hour or every single dollar I make is so directly tied to my time. Like 10 minutes of my time is worth $1. That was a crazy concept, but like if you invest 10 minutes into cleaning bathrooms, you get $1 or like $1.5, you know, but it's like very, very small money. But back then I like realized that. So if I wanted to go buy food, I'd pay $10 for food. I'd be like, I had to work, I had to clean bathrooms for an hour to eat that $10 of food. That was when I first started to realize like, okay, I really need to make money. You know, like I really can't just, and I don't think university is necessarily gonna solve that, because I looked at the jobs I could get from a 4-year degree, and it was like, they pay $40,000 a year maybe. So like, okay, maybe I could get a job, but like I'd have to stay in the city, and I don't know if I want to live in Canada forever. So that was the challenge. The challenge was like looking at my life and looking at like what I really wanted to do. So I told my dad, I was like, okay, Dad, like I need to take a gap year. Let me take some time off. Let me figure out what I want to do with my life first. And when I took that gap year, I also quit my job because I needed that time back. I realized like I have to do something different with my life. And so while I was in that gap year trying to decide what I want to do with my life, I stumbled upon Japanese.
この一人で一人 の分ですか？
はい、そうですね。これは一人用の値段になり
この
ます。
光515
はい。
はまだ看板に見えませんけど、この24番。はい、大丈夫です。
I stopped thinking about like what I was going to do after school, and I just knew I'm going to go to Japan. I'm going to learn Japanese. I'm going to travel the world, and the next step is to just find enough money to do that. So I wrote down a goal. I was like, I'm going to make $2,000 a month. I didn't realize how expensive life would be, but I thought, all right, I'm going to make $2,000 a month, and maybe live in East Asia, and then go between Japan and maybe Thailand or something. I'll do something like that, right? So I thought, okay, I need to make $2,000 a month, $2,500 a month, around there. And I looked online and there wasn't that many options. It's like I could do online teaching, wouldn't pay too well. I could become an English teacher in person, wouldn't pay too well either. And the worst part, the painful part, was that Japan actually requires you to have a degree if you want to teach English. I didn't have a degree and I didn't want to spend 4 years in university like getting a degree. I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. So I decided, all right, well, I got to do something. You know, I got to do something. I got to make sure that I find a way to do this. So I looked online. I looked for ways to make money online. I looked for ways to increase my income. And I even did try for a while. Like even while I was looking online for something better, I like tried to build up my English experience. I was like, well, maybe I'll teach English online anyway, because at least I could build some experience and maybe I could use that experience to get a job later. I don't know. So at this point, I'm working online as an English teacher. I don't have a car, by the way, so I'm at different coffee shops teaching English, and I'm studying Japanese as much as possible because I want to learn Japanese, and still I'm not making the money I want to make. And I just kept feeling this thing like I'm not going to be able to make it if I keep trying what I'm doing. Like what I'm doing is not working. I need to do something else. So I kept searching the internet, and eventually I found copywriting. And when I found copywriting in 2017, I thought, okay, this is for me, because I love languages. I love Japanese. I'd learned some other languages too. Maybe that's for a different video, but I was like, okay, cool. Copywriting's it's a language too. It's just the language of sales. If I can learn Japanese, I can learn copywriting. So I got into copywriting. I invested a lot of money. I put a lot of my time into it, and I took all my savings and my credit card and I maxed it out. I maxed out my credit card on copy coaching, and people are telling me good stuff. They're saying like your copy is really good, like you have a good potential in this industry, like your stuff's very professional. So I knew I'd found something that was good, you know? And thanks to my coaches and thanks to being persistent, I broke through. In 2017, I broke through, and I really broke through. My career went completely, like it really took off in 2019. So after 2 years of pushing and doing a lot of work for free and trying to break into the industry and get some momentum, I closed a massive client in 2019, and that changed my life. And I'll tell you, that first paycheck changed my life. I remember I got this paycheck in the mail. You could it would shine in the sun. If you bend it like this, it shines in the sun. And I was like, wow, I made more money in a month than I used to make in 3 months, doing minimum wage stuff. I did it in a month. This is it, I can do it. I can literally live in Japan. And I was making 4K a month, or 3.9, something like that. I was making 3.9 thousand US dollars, 4,500 Canadian. And I was like, wow, I've made twice my goal. I'm at double the goal I had. So I literally not only hit my goal, but I doubled it. And this is just the beginning of my career. Where else can I be? What if I make 5K? What if I make 6K? What if I make 8K? What if I make 10K? So I really believed in it then, and I doubled down. And I worked really hard. I didn't stop. I just kept working, and I actually got a bit burnt out. I actually worked so hard that I started to burn out. And it's crazy because around that time, when I was burning out, I actually, the pandemic happened, and I was like, okay, well, I don't want to live in Canada anymore. I never really wanted to stay here. So time to go back to South Africa. So in 2020, I decided to go back to South Africa. I moved back, and yeah, it was kind of difficult because I had been living in Canada for almost 6 years. I had my whole income there, I had my whole life there, but I wanted to be in the sun. I wanted to be in the sunshine, and I wanted to live a life more affordably as well. So I made the move back to South Africa, and that was one of the best decisions I ever made because South Africa is beautiful. I love living there. The only downside is it takes 30 hours to get to Japan. You have to fly a very long time to get to Japan from South Africa. So that's the only downside. I would say like the only big downside is that. So I was in South Africa and I was making decent money. At this point, I had increased my income from like 4K to around 12K a month. So I was doing a good job, you know, I was pretty happy with my income. And living in South Africa was cheaper than Canada too, right? So I had more money saved, but I was still very, very tired. And then I hired a performance coach to help me to be better, to help me to get more done in less time and optimize my business. And I just kept working at it. I just kept improving my skill. I just kept working at, you know, closing more deals and closing better deals and getting paid for better work. And over time, I got through that phase. And I was making six figures while living a very, very comfortable life. And throughout that time, I was working really hard as a copywriter, but I also started the Dojo in 2021. So in 2021, I founded the Dojo, and we started very, very small. There were just 5 of us in the beginning, but yeah, I didn't really have anything. I just had like a slide deck. I didn't even have a slide deck, actually. I had a Google Doc, I had a Zoom call, I had some recordings, and that's it. And we just started. We just jump on Zoom every week. As of recording this, it's been like over 4 years, and I haven't missed a single call. When I was sick, I still did the call. When I was tired, I still did the call. When I was in a different time zone, I still did the call. Like, I made sure that no matter what, I would do the call. And yeah, now we've grown to 100 copywriters working with the best businesses in the world. So I'm so grateful for, you know, staying with it and focusing on helping people. And we've built a very amazing community, very amazing mastermind. But, you know, the biggest thing that I would say changed my life is being able to take a risk on myself. You know, like every time I look back on my career and what I did, I doubled down on myself, I invested in myself, I pushed through the hard times, I never gave up, and I was consistent for years. It's been 8 years now, and I'm still in the game, I'm still actively writing for clients, I'm still working on my skills every single day. I haven't stopped just because now I'm also coaching. I'm still working on writing copy every single day. In 2023, I started living the nomad life. I lived in Japan for a few months. I went to Italy for over a month. I was in Canada many times, went to Thailand. Like, I did a lot of cool stuff and I learned a lot, and it wouldn't all be possible without copywriting. So copywriting gave me my dream life. I'm very grateful for the skill, and that's really my story. I just put a bet on myself. I didn't give up. I didn't tolerate average, and now I'm here in Japan recording this video for you. So if you want help, you know, go watch some of the videos on my channel and you can see exactly how to close clients, how to write better copy. You can get the headspace and the attitude of successful copywriters by watching the interviews. There's a lot of stuff here, and thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. I've written thousands of emails. Damn it, so close, so close. That was a good one, that was a good one. Somebody doesn't want any air in those packet of chips. None, zero air. Almost. And sitting in an office job. Oh my gosh. Recording this video for you literally from, oh, you